All right, 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
So I got this gift from the folks who made Battlefield Earth, the audiobook. Galaxy Press, is that who I give credit to for that one?
Yep.
I always forget who.
And Carmen.
And Carmen, everybody over there. And it was these CDs for the audiobook for Battlefield Earth. And I noticed it was like 48 hours long or something like that. I said, whoa! Whoa! So I put the first disc in. Hey, let me tell you something. We've gotten stuff like this before, and I usually don't get through a 2-hour audiobook. That's true. Sometimes I'll start it and I'll say, okay, I get the gist. Yeah, how to make $1 million overnight. Okay. But this one starts out, just with a bang. It's the L. Ron Hubbard story. I'm sure you probably know it, but you don't know it. If you saw the movie, you don't know the story.
No.
I don't know. I'm just telling you.
No, you don't know
so
the
anyway,
story.
I put the thing in there, and I only have a 4-mile drive home. So it's like 15 minutes if traffic is, whatever. So I'll be listening to it for 15 minutes on the way in, and then 15 minutes on the way home, and then sometimes I'd be going to your place, and that takes about a half hour. So there's another hour of listening between the two directions. And as I get deeper and deeper into the story, I'm getting to know these characters really, really well, and the actors who portray the characters that L. Ron Hubbard created are amazing. Everything is amazing about this audiobook. It is, and it's Battlefield Earth, and I'll tell you this. I'm not going to blow anything about the story, but the battle is in the first part like you would picture a battle to begin. Then it develops into something more cerebral, more symbolic, more about the battle we deal with in our own selves, and it's very, very well thought out and. Oh my gosh! And I hope that this audiobook gets listened to by a lot of people. I think it'll, or just get the book. I think, but the audiobook is what I want to talk about.
Outstanding.
Because Terl is on the phone. And now Terl, let me tell you who Terl is. If you don't know, Terl is the bad guy. Okay, I'll just put it real simple. But he's the bad guy you love. And unfortunately, I'm not going to tell you unfortunately, but the point is, you want him to be, the good guy, the bad guy turned to a good guy, but he never does. He stays a bad guy the whole time through. He is played by Charles Davis. That's who's actually on the phone. Charles Davis, listen to these credentials. You already got the picture. He's an actor. It says here he directed this thing. Holy mackerel. That's a lot of, if I thought it took a long time to listen to it, how long did it take to do this?
Yeah.
Charles Davis is an impressionist. He's the voice of the character Terl, which I'm going to try to see how well I can impersonate him in a second. Terl, the alien demon and villain. Yeah, I got that part. Okay. I'm reading now from Robin's notes here. Anyway, he's always the founding bass singer in the Mighty Echoes.
That's a cool part of his history.
I like that part.
That's neat. He's a singer.
He's the original live Spider-Man from Marvel. He has been a chartered captain in Key West.
Isn't that neat?
Really? He's an art importer? Oh, my gosh. Charles Davis, good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, and how are you?
I'm doing good. Where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm in Hollywood.
You're in Hollywood. You belong in Hollywood. You're one of those people that belongs in the business you're in.
It's early out. It's early out here. The sun is barely peeking up.
Oh gosh, I lived out there for a while, and I remember I love the mornings in L.A. Do you know?
I like it too. I'm really thrilled to be on the radio in Florida. I'll tell you that because I have a lot of history in Florida, and I love Florida.
Did you ever go to Fantasy Fest when you were in Key West?
Yes.
Yeah.
I did, but I was, I was taking people fishing. What I was doing down there was I was hanging around in hotel bars and convincing people to pay me to take them fishing.
There you go.
It was a short-lived chapter of my life, but preying on the snowbirds was my job while I was there, and of course, dodging pirates in those days.
Did you really?
Oh,
now wait a
that must have
minute.
been exciting.
If you're piloting a boat, if you ever have a kid that gets out of hand, do you ever use your Terl voice to get him to settle down?
Oh, my voice has been a weapon my entire life. I think I can say accurately and without exaggeration that it has saved my life at least 3 times.
Wow.
I can picture that. Okay. So the first one I'm going to try on you, I have 3 impersonations of you.
All right.
The first one I'm going to try
man.
is this one. You ready? Leverage. Yeah. Leverage. How'd I do?
I think you're sounding very good.
Leverage.
I think you may have spirit. You may have the spirit of Terl, for whatever vocal quality you're missing. You have the spirit of Terl.
Oh, that's right. Leverage. All right.
So you got to get deep.
All right. The other. All right. Do it again. Say it again.
Leverage.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, listen to this. Man is an endangered species.
Awesome. Oh my gosh! If you, it's tickling me because I've listened to this whole thing. All right, so here's my two other ones. They're both kind of the same. Hey, rat brain!
I can't wait to hear it.
Hey, rat brain! Hey. Yeah, we call him rat brain. And what was the other one? Hey, animal!
You got him, man.
Yeah.
I think you're doing him a lot in your car, at least.
Yeah, he is.
But, I was doing it. I was doing it. But the only problem is that I would definitely not be able to talk. I don't know how you did it for 48 hours worth of audio. So you were directing this while you were also...
No, I was not. No, listen, that's a mistake. That's in my bio. I am a director, and I've directed an awful lot of plays and a couple of short films. But the director of this magnum opus was Jim Meskimen, who I believe you've met.
Yes, we have, yeah.
And he was a brilliant director and collaborator. And I sat with him in the studio for about 3 to 4 hours a day for a long time. and we sat there cheek by jowl, and he coached me through this part. So he is definitely a collaborator on what ended up on tape for Terl.
Do you know what is weird? When L. Ron Hubbard was writing this, he called them, instead of eyelids, eye bones, right? And
you know, he had a unique way of looking at the world, and that's part of what makes him a great science fiction writer, because he took the world to other dimensions, and he also had insight and wisdom that was beyond a lot of people's. And so it's also a visionary experience to read his fiction. It's great. He made so much fiction that I believe now has almost all been recorded and will be released, which is really exceptional.
And one thing I noticed, and I don't know if it was intentional or if it was like a little inside joke or if anybody even noticed it, I think I might have brought it up to Jim Meskimen, I think. But it was the Cyclos are the people... Well, Terl is a Cyclo. He's from the planet Cyclo, which sounds like an awesome planet, by the way. And just full of bad people with metal pills in their brain. And then what was the... and then the people who actually affected the Cyclos were the Catrists, right?
Yes.
So the cyclocatrists, to put the two together, sounds like psychologists or something. And he didn't. L. Ron Hubbard was not a big fan of psychologists.
Yeah.
So
he was definitely not a fan of the psychologists. No.
So did you ever put the two together, the cyclocatrists, and hear?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think he did it with full consciousness. And but. You know, I must say at this point, Larry, that I think you are most likely more well versed in the book than I.
Why? You've read the whole thing or listened to it, right?
I have, and I'm in almost the whole thing as well. But it's been a long time. You know, we recorded it about 8 years ago, or even more.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really? That's how long it took.
You know, listen to the production values in it, and you'll understand why.
Yeah.
Because the production values in this audiobook, I think, set a standard that's going to be, it just is a whole new world of audiobook production because it's cinematic. I mean, the sound effects, the original music that they had composed for the score, you know, it's remarkable.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. So let me ask you about your involvement in it. What was there a casting call? How did you? How did this happen? I mean, how did? And where did you have competition? Did anybody else get into it? Like, did somebody like me say, "I want to be Terl"?
If there was competition, I wasn't aware of it, which is great, and a credit to them, to the production team, and to Jim, who was putting it together. But you know, I happened to live up the hill in the neighborhood called Silver Lake in Los Angeles from the studio in which it was recorded, which was a studio that was built by Chick Corea. and now is the domain of Galaxy Press. And it's one of the most gorgeous studios I've ever been in. But I was called in. I actually called them because a friend of mine who's an actor, the great Roger Steffens, who's the reggae archivist for the entire world, he called me and said, you might want to give these guys a call because they're recording a whole, L. Ron's whole oeuvre of work. And so I gave them a call, and they called me in, and I read one part and then another. First I got one part, and then they kept calling me in for this other part, which I had they said, this guy's low and gravelly, and so I went low and gravelly, and I came in, and then there were a series of phone calls, many phone calls, where they just parsed my resume forever, and then I said, something must be up, because they're really looking at this resume, and then they offered me the part, and it was a very simple process, but it was unique in that they kept calling me back and asking me about specific items on my resume. I think they wanted to make sure I hadn't been in any porn films.
Yeah, that's a prerequisite.
Wow. Yeah, but just think how great that would be with that voice. I mean, it. Oh my gosh, that would be an awesome porn film. Just think of remember Feed Me Seymour? What was that thing? Feed Me Seymour?
Oh yeah, that was.
No, Larry, I don't remember that.
Little Shop of Horrors with Ellen Green and Rick Moranis.
Yes.
Yeah,
right. Absolutely. Well, that was Levi Stubbs. That was his great voice.
Oh, really?
The bass singer for the Four Tops.
Oh my. Oh my!
Or the Temptations? No, the Temptations.
So tell me about the Mighty Echoes. I want to hear about the Mighty Echoes a little bit. When did you do this?
Oh man, the Mighty Echoes are still singing, and we have been doing it now for 32 years. And we started in a small theater in the Silver Lake neighborhood, doing a rock musical about the Pied Piper of Hamelin that ended up going to New York. And we were just messing around, singing for after curtain parties, and then we got hired by Tony Danza to be on Who's the Boss, and all of a sudden, overnight, we became a thing.
Oh,
and we've been doing it ever since, and done 20 television shows and a movie that we shot in Florida with Deborah Winger and Dennis Quaid.
Oh my gosh!
Singing firemen. We played singing firemen. We were on location for almost 4 months, I think, in Lakeland and Sanford. Yep.
Nice.
And it was a movie in which we played singing firemen, and it was a great time, a really great time.
So I don't know what you look like. I'm looking at the Mighty Echoes. Which one are you? Are you?
I'm the one with the beard. What picture do you have?
Oh yeah. It's four guys. Guy with the goatee. So that's you.
That's me.
With the goatee.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The black guy looks young. There's two guys in here look too young to be in the group the whole time, right?
Well, we've had some changes of personnel. Our founding member, John Hostetter, who's probably the reason I'm in the band, he and I met on a Shakespeare tour in the early 70s out of New York, the National Shakespeare. He played King Lear and I played Oberon, and he retired in 2000 and moved to New Smyrna Beach.
Oh my gosh. Where he has lived. He's an amazing man. And so we've had some changes of personnel over the years, but we are still a band of brothers because it's only been the club is about six members in a 4-piece band. So currently we have Johnny, who's in the Rubinoos, which they just finished touring up east, which is a great teen pop band out of Berkeley from the 70s. And Harvey Shields, who was in the band in England, episode 6, that became Deep Purple.
Oh, wow.
And has a gold record on. And he has a gold record on his wall, which is the song that some of you may remember called "The Way I Feel Tonight," which was the Bay City Rollers' last hit.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote that. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
The way I feel tonight.
Oh yeah. Now I do. Now I do.
All right.
Yeah.
And the way I feel tonight, I love you.
And you've really had a variety of roles, because you're not only a director, but you're an actor, and you've been in film, you've been in the theater, you've been in television. I mean, gosh, you've had a chance to work with some of the greats, but they've had a chance to work with you.
It's been a wonderful, wonderful long road, Robin, and I've appreciated it every step of the way. You know, I've gotten to work with some of the great famous names before they were famous names and after they were famous names, and we've done some amazing projects together on the stage and in front of the camera.
Wow.
It's just been a great run.
Where did you grow up? Where was your childhood?
I was born and raised in New York City.
In the city, okay.
My mom was a teacher, and my dad was an aeronautical engineer.
And did you go to L.A. for the ambitions to be in showbiz?
Well, I actually ended up in San Diego in 1967 going to college. And I went to performing arts school. I went to performing arts school there. And then right out of performing arts school, in fact, for my senior year, I worked in Sarasota at the Oslo Theater.
Oh, okay. And we've had some of those people up here, haven't we?
Right.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got to live on Longboat Key and take a boat to work at the Ringling Dock every day.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Robin just went down there for something.
That's a very nice place.
Wait a minute. I got something here. I want to show you.
Okay.
I'll play something.
Life could be a dream if I could take you up to paradise up above.
Is that you doing the boom boom?
You would tell me I'm the only
Yeah, I'm the low guy.
Sweetheart, hello again. Shaboom is open with me again.
Oh, that's awesome. See, that's one of those genres that doesn't ever go away. That's always going to be popular, right?
That is for sure. It makes and one thing about harmony, it doesn't matter what genre it is, but with harmony, and this is one of the things I know and believe, it makes the spine vibrate. And so everybody who hears it, doesn't matter if they're familiar with the music or not, when they hear harmony hit a chord that's like perfect with a bunch of human voices, a human being just sort of goes into this genetic, quiver.
That's interesting. I mean, humans are so different from animals, aren't they? I don't know why you call Johnny an animal. I mean, we were talking about this morning. We have some monkeys that are loose, I guess, around here somewhere.
Yeah.
And somebody put a video up of the monkey drinking from the river, and I said, "Look, they don't use a cup. Mm-hmm. They got a hand, but they don't have a cup." And it occurred to me that we're the only species that has a cup.
Exactly.
They say the wheel, the wheel is the best invention. I think the cup is the best invention.
Well, yeah, and actually, we were probably something like the monkeys when we invented it. And if you see a monkey at a circus, you can see they can certainly use a wheel.
And
exactly.
and they can drink from a cup.
Yeah.
Yes. But if indeed, Larry, man is an endangered species, then perhaps the primates will take over.
Oh,
maybe
there you
so.
go.
But see, I think if you had talked music with Johnny Goodboy, then maybe you guys would have gotten along a little better. He wouldn't have fed you raw rats. And I mean, no, you didn't get the raw rat. You wouldn't have fed him.
No, he fed him raw.
Yeah, you fed him raw rat meat. That was horrible.
Yeah, but after a while, he was happy to have it.
That was too funny.
During your recording, were you afraid of getting a cold?
Well, sometimes I would be. If I'm singing, I am. But with Terl, I think a cold would have just added to it.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
How long did it take you to do your part? Because you must have been in the studio for with everybody doing their parts.
It's so long ago now, it's ancient history, but I know that it took months. Mm-hmm. I would go in, not every day. I would go in, and there was a bunch of negotiation about how much my voice could take of doing that, because it was so granular. And I also had another voiceover. I had my voiceover career to keep going, so I couldn't sacrifice the quality of my voice to the gravelly
right
Terl. So I had to do just enough so that I could push myself to the edge, rasping up my voice, but not make anything that I couldn't wake up the next day and sound smooth. Because that's what I do every day.
The Battlefield Earth what do you call this thing again? Audiobook.
Yeah.
On Amazon, just on Amazon, has 2,377 reviews and just about a 5-star rating. That's not bad.
No, this book was a million seller when it came out. It sold 4 million copies in its hardcover printed version. It's definitely a book that swept the world and continues to with the audiobook.
By the way, John Travolta lives in our community, and if you're listening,
Indeed.
I doubt that he listens, but if you are, sir, I respect you greatly, but you didn't have the voice of Terl. John has a kind of a high voice.
But he had the look, didn't he?
He had a look.
Yeah. A look.
No, he was too good looking to be Terl. Terl had to be horrible.
Rugged.
Well, had a mask, right? On the cover of the book, he's got some kind of a breathing apparatus on, right?
Well, it's actually a trunk, which is a breathing apparatus. It looks sort of elephantine to me.
Yeah.
And, they have now Terl now has a star on Hollywood Boulevard.
Does he really?
And they have a costume for Terl that they take around to like Comic-Con. They were just in Comic-Con in San Diego.
Do you ever go?
And they take it around to, my voice always goes because they take a recording of me. They take a recording of me and play it, and to accompany Terl, they've got a guy who's like 6'9" to fill out the costume and make everybody intimidated by his face.
Oh my God!
If you're
probably some retired basketball player.
If your children ever get in a conflict, do they bring up Terl and say, "Well, I'm going to sick Terl on you"?
He comes up, but he is a persona that I tend to carry around the house with me anyway. So Terl equals dad equals Terl. But being raised by an actor is probably. I wasn't, so I don't know. But being raised by an actor is probably very exciting and a little confusing because they never know who's going to walk through the door.
So where do you go from here? What's next on your plate? What will we see you in or hear you in?
Well, I'm about to do a recording with the Mighty Echoes. We have been for many years. We've had permission from Gail Zappa to do an a cappella recording of 200 Motels, which is like great and hugely challenging a cappella work. And we're about to gather and do a number of high-profile gigs here, and that's coming up. As well, I'm working on developing some stories for television and film, which takes up a good deal of my time.
Really?
And I
have a question. I have a question about 4-part harmony. I have a couple of questions. I kind of wish I didn't start these questions now because we're almost done. But I mean, do you write it all out? Sometimes being influenced by what the other person is singing throws you off. But you all, I mean, obviously you're professional at this, so you stick to whatever your line is. But do you write it out so you can see it visually, or do you just do it audibly?
Well, you could, but we mostly don't. We get together in rehearsal and figure out what our arrangement is going to be and try to optimize it over rehearsal after rehearsal. And we also sometimes have songs where we pass them by our producer partner, who is a brilliant musician and arranger, and he'll give us some tips. And usually they come in the form of a recorded part adjustment, or if he's in the room, he's just slouched down in a chair with a guitar. He's amazing, and he goes, "Oh, I hear what you're trying to do. You could either do it this way, bing, 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 or you could do it this way, bing, 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 or you could voice it this way, bing, bing. I like this one, bing, bing, bing." And then we go, "Oh my God, how did he do that?" And after we get over that, we just spent 3 hours trying to come up with that, and he just got it like that.
4-part harmony is not easy. Yeah.
No, because the reason is that it's actually a 5-part medium. You've got the high voice, you've got the bass voice, and you've got a chord of 3 notes in the middle. So what makes it really interesting and always exciting with us and our arranging is that you have to keep that 3-part chord in the middle and have the high and the low. and we only have 4 horses, so we're jumping around a lot, and it's fun.
Definitely. I would love to talk to you and kind of focus on the music. That would be fun. Charles Davis, thank you so much for being on the air with us today. I'm a big fan of the Battlefield Earth audiobook. You should get some kind of Academy Award or whatever they give for that thing. I found it on Amazon. BattlefieldEarth.com is another great place to go. I almost said Terl. Charles Davis, thank you so much for being on the air with us today.
Larry, you can call me Terl. I look forward to seeing you again sometime. Bye-bye, guys.
All right, we will be right back.